Alright, this green, the teal, starting to get a little bit of the presence in here, and I never saw it coming, but I just can't help but pick up these different bits and pieces. Today I decided to get one of these battery powered caulking guns. I went down there, all intentions, just picking up your stock standard $5, $10 jobby, hand powered, when I thought, you know what, how bad could they actually be? Let's find out. Instructions, gun. It's quite heavy. Straight away it's quite heavy. 6-year warranty on this thing, which is pretty impressive. If I can keep the crap for that long, then I'll be able to take it back when it blows up. A little speed control. Feels like Ryobi. It's your normal plastic. Normal power tool plastic, a little bit of over molding. 2 half clamshells. This is made out of just a mild steel type deal. The finish on these teeth, decent. It's a $60. I would like to see what drive that is, whether that's just a cog or what gearing it's got for power. I'll have to find my battery, use it for a glue gun. Pretty much the only reason I have one of these batteries is for this glue gun, so let's see if she runs. Weird little lock switch there. So slow is really slow, which will be pretty good for when you want to go like nice and easy. Fast, decently fast, like for what it is. I'm excited for this. I think it might be a little gala. Alright. This one's fucked. Alright, so we've got a little nozzle. I've only got the tiniest little hole in the end. So as you know yourself, when you're squeezing away at them, it's a pain. I normally end up just making it bigger, and bigger the glove, better the job. So we'll give it a bit of a crank. And that's just pouring out. It seems to have an automatic backing off. You know when you squeeze it and then you leave it and it just sits there and dribbles out. If I squeeze this, it backs off maybe 1-2 teeth just so the pressure's relieved, which is quite impressive. I'm liking how much goo I'm getting out of such a small hole as opposed to normally you have to squeeze. But unless I'm stupid, this doesn't have a reverse, which would be... I think you got to pull it back out, which is, you think you'd be able to, you know, drive it out. What's the switch? Turn the motor. Little, done. I bought this to fix a leak in the roof, so I'm going to go do that, and then when I get back, we'll rip it apart and we'll see what's actually going on inside. Might even get some bonus on the roof footage, who knows. So, disaster struck. If you can see this, I've did it in a tube of silicone and there's crap everywhere. So, I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure that was my fault. I was using a really old can. I think it just got clogged. So, pressure had to go somewhere and it came out the back. So, we'll pull it apart and give it a bit of a clean, and we'll see what's actually driving this, what sort of gearing ratio, if any, or what motor comparable. Is it the battery drill motor? What is it? We'll have a look. So that piece comes off quite easy. It's not what you want on your maiden voyage, is it? So we've got a decent switch. This will last. This isn't the sort of thing you're gonna be smashing and bashing. So nice, big, nice, responsive. It's actually got a little limit switch. So when it knows when it's full. This little micro switch there. You know, it's got to know when to turn off. This is interesting. Seems to have a little temperature sense right on the back of this bit of aluminium, which will essentially act as some sort of heat sink. But if this motor gets too hot, that's obviously going to be your thermal cutout. Not sure why, but for some reason I was hoping that this motor would be used in one of their cheap old drills, but it's not. The other use cases I found for this were a little bilge pump and a vibrator, so make of that what you will. Here's a little resistor pot for your speed. Sometimes you can just keep winding these and make these longer, so you get like max it right out. That's the planets. So we're not hooked up to the motor anymore, but we can see this is max speed, which doesn't seem that fast for the type of motor it is. I'm wondering if there's a secondary set of Planet gears in here. It would be crazy, but there must be some more gearing, unless I'm wrong, which is quite often the case. Ah, that's exactly what they've done. They've got Planetary Gears in here too. So this is double geared down, so it's geared down to get to these plastic cogs. And what's quite interesting is these are plastic gears here. Then you come off to these big cogs, which is onto this little, I dare say that's just cast cog here. Then they go ahead and feel it necessary to use metal gears to then turn this, which actually makes contact with the rail. This is what makes contact with the rail. So there's no reason for these to be metal at all. They've already put the weak part into the system. I don't know, let me know. Is there a reason why these have changed from plastic to metal? So we got that planet, which then runs that planet and the original plastic planet. So I'm gonna do the calcs on that. Alright, I better crack a beer. Because it's gonna be math time. Alright, so the input's on this motor here, and it drives this first planetary. So we'll draw the most beautiful looking planetary gear. Now, this has nine teepees, and the outside ring has 45 teeth. And I think all three of these are the same. Then this goes over to a cog, which goes over to another cog on the back end here. Now these are 1 for 1, so these are negligible. All this is pretty much, that could be a belt, that could be anything. They're just rerouting the direction to make it more compact. Then that in turn drives another planetary, which then drives another planetary, which then drives our rod, which pushes back and forth here. So we know it's got 9 teeth and 45 teeth on the sun. So the sun is 9 teeth. The ring is 45. So to calculate the planets, we add the sun and the ring to get 54, which will give us 9 over 54. That is 1 6. So for every 6 turns of the motor, we get 1 output. So we're looking at a 6:1 ratio for this gear here. As this is 1:1, we do nothing. This here, I'm pretty sure is another 6:1. So another 6:1. So now by the time we've come through this section, we're looking at 36:1. And then we're going through the last one, which is 6 times 36 is that'll be 180 plus another 36. That'll be 216:1. So every 216 times this thing turns, we'll get 1 rotation on the cog that turns that, and that was that little. There is actually another gear, little star gear, but we won't calculate that because it's not changing the ratio. That's just what drives this. That will affect the speed, obviously the size versus the small, you know, but just for what we're talking about right now, we'll just ignore that. So with 3 sets of planetary gears, they've tried to get 216:1. I don't feel like this is the most efficient way to do it. I feel like it's really weird that they go from metal to plastic to metal, and then this final ring, I'm not sure if you can see it from there, is back to plastic again. So this must be a cost saving issue. So 216:1. You're also now getting a 1:216 torque multiplier, which would be why this little thing has enough force in it to blow out the silicone in the back and create that big gooey mess that I've been cleaning. Interesting. So by this, if my math is right, which I'm hoping it is, otherwise I'm a big dummy. If I turn this 1 full turn, which would mean my thumb comes back to there, which would be too hard, I should get this to go past this finger 6 times. But just to try it out, I'll go like halfway and then we'll see how many times it passes my finger. So that's 1, 2, 3. Now, the thing is, that's extremely hard. Well, I can do it, but it's putting up a fight to turn it myself. So if I add this gears into it, pop that back in, and then pop that back in, there's no clutch, there's no like relief system on this. That's a direct feed to that once you add these back into the mix. You can feel that the torque multiplier already, like the more I have to push just to add that. And then if we're to add this, where's the width? There. Sits in like so. This is why it gets extremely hard to move. I'll put this back in. I'll just give you an indication of how fast this little motor actually spins. Oh, I've lost my battery. So that's obviously getting reduced all the way down, so you get that slow movement. Alright, we'll see speed reduction already. So this should spin 6 times slower. Whoop, we have a problem. Would you believe that? I missed a whole nother set of gears. So that's gonna increase this quite a bit. See, I'm not perfect. We've actually got another right in here, which will bring the total out to 1296. So it's a 1 to 1296 ratio. So you can imagine why the torque to push this thing back gets quite high. So now we've got 4. We've got 4 Planetary Gears in series. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Alright, so we'll get back to putting this together. Which will be why she knows spin. Alright, cog got me at the back. That's incredibly slow already, isn't it? Alright, now we can put this back into this. And we'll get that 1996 difference. So I'm having trouble with this. I think this is some sort of clutch system to allow the actual ring to spin when you're pulling this in and out, which would make a lot of sense considering the torque that you've built up trying to push it back the other way. There's no way you can put the output as an input and expect these gears to hold up, so that's probably why they're metal up to here. That's probably why this ring's metal, to compensate for this action here, because all the other rings are plastic, even though we do have metal gears. That's probably why we transitioned to metal gears here. I see, says the blind man. This outer molding on the trigger, this here, I was wondering why it had such a hard spring on it, because I thought, geez, it's actually a bit of a pressure to push. This sits in there, lifts that up. So when that pulls up, that'll let the ring actually free spin. And then, so when you don't have the trigger on, you can free move it. That's why I'm having trouble right now moving it, because there's no way to lift this up. As soon as I lift that up, happy days. I feel stupid for not spotting that earlier, but it's the way she goes. Alright, so there you have it. 4 series Planetary Gears with a 1 to 1296 ratio is how they've pulled off your fine adjustment speed for your caulking, and simple little ring gear release mechanism is how you can pull it back without the reverse. Simple stuff, but genius at the same time. Had me thinking. I was real curious how it got away without having the reverse, but you know, solution to that was way simpler than it was. But I was surprised to find the Planetary Gears and the different materials that used to make them. I'm pretty sure it would be the fact that they needed that one metal ring that they ended up with that, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. This was going to be a new tool Tuesday, but it turned into a little bit of a gear session, so don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet, but if you're watching it, you found it. Want to see more of this type of crap? Don't be afraid to subscribe, leave a comment, what other stuff you'd like to see. I don't know. Do YouTube stuff on YouTube. Tell me what's up. Kill it. Check out some other stuff will all pop up here.